The more I mentor, the more I see people's reaction to failure and how they deal with that. And certainly, the more you try to accomplish anything, you will encounter failure along the way, just the way life is. So I wanted to read you something from Napoleon Hill's Thought of the Day. It's a little flowery for my taste, but so be it. And then I want to give you a couple of examples that relate to recent experiences with respect to failure. So here goes from Napoleon Hill's Thought of the Day. Failure seems to be nature's plan for preparing us for great responsibilities. If everything we attempted in life were achieved with a minimum of effort and came out exactly as planned, how little we would learn and how boring life would be, and how arrogant we would become if we succeeded at everything we attempted. Failure allows us to develop the essential quality of humility. It is not easy when you are the person experiencing failure to accept it philosophically, serene in the knowledge that this is one of life's great learning experiences, but it is. Nature's ways are not always easily understood, but they are repetitive and therefore predictable. You can be absolutely certain that when you feel you are being most unfairly tested, you are being prepared for great achievement. Okay, as I said, a little flowery for my taste. But if you look back on Napoleon Hill's work, one of the things he said was, if you study the lives of successful people, you will see that they were run through the mill of merciless experiences before they, quote, arrived, unquote. And that's certainly true. Just look back at the hardships that most people have had that have been successful, and you'll see that's absolutely true. So if you understand that failure is part of the process, if you understand that you fail your way to success, essentially, you will eventually not fear failure, but understand that it's a process. You're going to go through it. I wouldn't court failure. You keep your mind on what you want and off what you don't want, but just understand it's part of that experience that you're going to go through in these acquisitions. Not everything's going to work out. You learn from those experiences, you change those things, and you move forward. And that was most recently pointed out twice in the podcast that I did with Deborah, and then the mentee in Europe that I did the other day. It was a mentee that asked me if I would ask them several questions. One of those questions was pretty interesting and actually tells you a little bit about the mindset of the person who asked me to ask the question. And that was, what were the top 3 times that you thought about quitting? And when I asked Deborah that, she said, no, never thought about quitting. And when I asked the second mentee the other day that, he said the same thing. He said, no, I didn't think about quitting. So if this is so important to you that you don't care how hard it is, you realize that if you follow the process and you work hard, the odds are in your favor that if you persist and you change what needs to be changed, if you're running into problems, that you will eventually succeed. You can't fail if you don't quit, basically. Then you'll relax in terms of going through the failures. Again, you're not going to court failures, but you're going to understand that this is how you're going to get to where you are. Think about the easiest things in life, like learning to walk. How many times did you fall down? You didn't stop. You just kept going until you didn't fall down anymore, until you get old enough, and then you might fall down again. But those are important lessons to learn. It's important to understand failure is part of the process. And if you look at failure in that way, you will oftentimes just shrug off the defeat, learn from it, and push forward. So I would encourage you to think about that and put that into action. There is no substitute for taking action. Absolutely, if you look at the successful people and mentees that have accomplished their acquisitions, they all push forward and concentrate on the action that they take on a daily basis and measure themselves against that.